Look at Britain today, and you see fields of gold, towns stitched with stone, motorways stretching endlessly, and farmland carved into neat squares. But imagine peeling back the centuries. Imagine walking the same land thousands of years ago. You would not see the open fields. You would not see the endless patchwork of farms. You would see trees, millions upon millions of trees. From the chalk hills of southern England to the rugged mountains of Scotland, Britain was once a green kingdom, clothed in forests so vast that they seemed eternal. Oak and elm rose like pillars of cathedrals. Pine stretched towards the northern skies, and birch shimmered silver in the winds. Wolves prowled through the shadows. Wild boar rooted through the earth. Lynx slinked silently across mossy stones. And people, our ancestors, lived in rhythm with this wildwood, a forest that covered almost every part of the island. The ancient wildwood archaeologists call it the wildwood, a primeval blanket of forest that grew after the last ice age 10,000 years ago when the glaciers melted and seeds sprouted. Slowly, as the climate warmed, trees spread northward across Britain, first birch and pine, then oak and elm, then ash and hazel. For thousands of years, this forest expanded, unbroken, uninterrupted, a green ocean across the land. By the time the first farmers arrived, around 6,000 years ago, Britain was almost entirely woodland. Imagine it. You could walk from Kent in the southeast to the Highlands of Scotland, never once leaving the shade of trees. The wildwood was not empty. It was alive, breathing, humming. Birds filled the air. Insects thrived. Beavers dammed the rivers. Bears and wolves roamed freely. This was the Britain that time has almost erased, forests of legend. When we think of forests today, names echo from legend. Sherwood, where Robin Hood robbed the rich and gave to the poor. The Caledonian pine forest of Scotland, where red deer still graze and golden eagles circle above. The Celtic rainforests of Wales and Cornwall, where moss and lichen drip from twisted oaks. These forests are but fragments now, yet once they were part of something unimaginably larger. Sherwood, for example, is today a few patches of oak and birch. In the Middle Ages, it stretched for over 1,000 square miles. The Caledonian forest once cloaked much of northern Scotland, a wild land of wolves, bears, and wild cattle. Now only about 1% survives. Britain's forgotten forests live on in these fragments, reminders of a time when the island soul was bound to the trees. The disappearance. So what happened? How did an island once covered almost entirely in woodland become a place where less than 13% of the land is now forested, one of the lowest rates in all of Europe? The answer lies in us, in human hands, human hunger, human ambition. The first farmers cleared patches to grow crops and graze animals. Over centuries, the axes bit deeper. By the time the Romans came, large swaths had already been cut down for farmland, for timber, for fuel. The Romans themselves demanded wood in vast quantities: oak for building, pine for fortresses, elm for water pipes. In the Middle Ages, shipbuilding began to consume forests at an alarming rate. Britain's navy, the pride of the nation, was fed by oak forests, each warship requiring thousands of mature oaks. Then came the Industrial Revolution. Mines needed pit props, ironworks needed charcoal, cities needed fuel. And so the forest fell, tree by tree, acre by acre. What had once been an endless green ocean became islands, fragments, and finally memories. Myths and folklore. Yet forests never left our imagination. Even as the trees vanished, the stories remained. In Celtic mythology, the oak was sacred, a doorway between worlds. Druids held their rituals beneath ancient groves. The yew walme, with its dark evergreen needles, was a symbol of death and rebirth, often planted in churchyards. Folklore spoke of green men carved into stone, faces of leaves, guardians of the forest. Sherwood gave us Robin Hood, the outlaw hero who lived beneath the trees. In Scotland, legends tell of wolves hunting in the moonlight. In Cornwall, tales whisper of spirits in the wood. The forest may have shrunk, but their myths grew larger than life. And they remind us that trees were never just resources. They were sacred, alive, part of the fabric of human culture. The survivors today, scattered across Britain, small fragments survive. In Sussex, ancient oaks stand in groves where kings once hunted. In Wales, Celtic rainforests cling to valleys, their twisted branches dripping with moss. In Scotland, remnants of the Caledonian pines still stand tall, their red trunks glowing at sunset. Some trees are older than nations, yews thousands of years old, oaks that were saplings when William the Conqueror landed in 1066. These survivors are living time machines. Step into them, and you feel the air change.